Hello, Mr. Martinez. This is my teach back video. I'm basically just going to be going over my video real quick and going over like some ideas and something that weren't like too fleshed out in the video and just explain my thought process behind it. When I showed some friends the video and asked for questions, they didn't have any questions really for me. So unfortunately, I don't have any questions, but let's get started. The video is 3 minutes and 42 seconds long. And the video starts off with a semi-long intro about shootings and how common they are in America and etc. I'll just let the video play out. And then if there's anything important, I'll pause and I'll talk about if anything comes up.
Governor of the American state of Texas, Greg Abbott, says that a gunman has shot dead 14 pupils and a teacher.
Well, sadly, we are turning now to another shooting. This one at a nightclub in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
And wild video out of Compton. Deputies still looking for two men after an armed robbery and a deadly shootout at a smoke shop.
Brazen shooting caught on camera.
After a deadly shooting,
The shootout at a gas station. Whoever shot and killed a teenager in Brooklyn.
14-year-old boy lost his life. 2 people are dead and 5 wounded after a shooting in Yuma.
A teenage girl shot and killed in Phoenix.
Breaking news, at least 10 people are dead in a mass shooting at a supermarket in Buffalo.
So before the video continues, the whole point of that section was just to like show how bad it's been getting in America and how frequent these news were. All of the videos I found were from 6 months to about a year old. And it's not as if I typed in specific dates and shootings. I just wrote shooting on news and that's what came up. So it's just to show the severity of it and to show how bad it is and how bad it's gonna get.
Why are shootings so frequent? Have they been on the rise? Why hasn't there been any changes to stop this? Well, the shocking part of all this is that shootings haven't been on the rise and have stayed the exact same rate for many years. A criminal investigation study done by Lott and Modi shows that from when they started recording shootings in 1970s to the present day, the rate of shootings have stayed exactly the same. Now,
I do want to add to that even though it shows that the rate of shootings have been the same, it's only been from 1970, so I don't have any more information beforehand. But looking at articles and information, the shooting numbers have been the same or have technically gotten less, but there has been more victims and more people dying to it on a daily basis because the population is bigger.
Congress has tried and attempted to pass laws like the Zero Act Tolerance to lower such shooting rates, but no evidence has been shown that these laws have done anything to improve the current circumstances. Many congressmen believe that arming more Americans would lower the body count. The issue relies with...
So I did want to mention again that some of it was from my research packet, and that was from one of the articles I used, and it does mention a lot. I do go into detail about how people believe that more guns equal more violence, but I do want to mention, even though it didn't flow to the video, how more guns does lead to more deaths and more confusion, because the more guns you have and the more active shooters there are on a scene, and people might mistake one shooter for another, and it just becomes a big hodgepodge of shootings. In one of the news articles, for example, there was multiple shooters trying to all defend themselves. The cashier had one, the bystander had one, and the robber had one. So yes, even though it's really bad, everyone's shooting at each other, not understanding what's happening, and because everyone's confused and they all believe that in the right and they're all protecting themselves, then it leads to unnecessary death.
Many Republicans not wanting to increase gun control. Other solutions many Republicans believe is that the body counts would be lower if there were more Americans armed and ready to take over an active shooter. With United States Representative Tim Burchett saying laws don't work to curb gun violence. He believes that this is one of the costs of our freedom.
I like to put the quotes of our freedom because a lot of Americans like to use the word our freedom to defend themselves or defend the gun laws and etc. But this is a false argument because a lot of other countries have more freedom and more rights and more access to other things. For example, a lot of LGBTQ plus stuff in America is worse off than in lots of Europe places. So there is technically more freedom in Europe to be yourself than there is in America. So this freedom argument doesn't really apply with their gun laws. It's just a way for some people to keep control of their guns.
This freedom, however, doesn't justify all the murder and violence around the US and the ever high kill count. The US has 6 times the amount of shooting per population size than it should be. The statistics get even worse for other first world countries. For example, since 1996 up until 2022, Australia has only had 1 shooting. In 2022 alone in the US, they had over 647 mass shootings. One of the biggest reasons that people tend to create shootings was to inflict pain on others. Ernchak puts it best.
I was almost a school shooter. 1996, Denver, Colorado, as a student in North High. In a moment of pain and anger, I almost committed a terrible atrocity.
I'm using this quote here because I did mention that they're in pain and whatnot, but Aaron Shark does explain a lot of other things that I didn't feel like would flow right in the video. He explains, I touch on it briefly just as a point, but basically he was treated very poorly and all the systems in America basically made it harder for him to be a better person. And he was about to commit a school shooting, but then some people showed him kindness and he didn't because he realized, oh, there's actually good people in the world, and that the idea of school shooters or even just shooters in general are to inflict pain or to deal with what they've been dealt wrong. So we need to find a better way to deal with this issue instead of looking for gun control, because America isn't going to do anything about the gun control. So we need to focus on how to make people better and more stable and how to improve mental health in the US in general, because that's one of the lowest in the modern day world.
Aaron Shark was almost a school shooter, but some kind souls have shown him kindness, which didn't let him create a terrible outrage. The United States government should be helping people more than offering them more guns to protect themselves. Congress, when it does try to fix these problems, miss the entire point of shootings in general. They are done as an outcry for some shooters, believing how this is how they bring justice to the wrong they've been brought to.
And just to touch upon that, like I did mention that they've been wrong too, and Congress has tried with, again, with the Zero Tolerance Act or some other acts, but because none of them have been effective or even work, or some of them actually even been used for systemic racism, then all of this falls apart. The last 20 seconds of the video is just credits that I can just skim through. These are all the videos links, and then here is just like a thank you card. And then if you want to see any of the links I use, I also put in the description. These are for the sites I used for extra information, like Australia. And here are all the videos I used in the beginning intro section. And then here is the music soundtrack I use. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I will gladly answer. That is the end of my final authentic assessment. Thank you for giving me an extension. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.